Yo, what's up? This is Someone That's No One. Today we're here to talk about my first time smoking weed. And this is a classic story, nothing too crazy, but I'm sure, many people out there could relate to this type of experience with their first time. But if you guys can drop a like on today's video, that would be fantastic. And if you enjoy the content, feel free to drop a sub. And also, feel free to leave your first time smoking weed in the comments below. And without further ado, let's get into this story. So we gotta rewind the clock back to around freshman year, and I believe it was in the springtime, and I had made a decent amount of friends at this point in my life, many with their own interest. One of those friends had grown an interest in, well, smoking pot, mainly due to his cousin, since he was a pothead himself, and we'll call this friend Lucio. Now, Lucio was quite the character, I suppose. Personally, I think he was someone with quite a big of an ego. He was a friendly guy and, didn't mean any bad, but he was someone who liked to talk a lot. He had a history with gang and drugs before this, and he actually used to smoke before this, but he started again at this point during this time. But we got along really well. I met him like a few years prior to this, so I known him for quite a long time, and I don't want to get too deep into that stuff though, but anyways, Lucio one day invites me to hang out at his apartment. His mom wasn't there, so he had an open crib, and Lucio's cousin was also gonna be there, and we'll call him Zach. And Zach was like 19 or something at the time. I'm not exactly sure about that, but he hit me up, and at the time I was with a familiar character if you watch the other videos, and that dude would be Armando, the classic Armando. And this was actually when I met Armando. Like, I knew him 2 months prior to this, and we were actually good friends like right away. So I told Lucio I was with Armando, and we would also need a ride. Now, Lucio, he's the same age as us, in the story at least, at this time, in freshman year, you can guess that. And I guess he could have gotten a permit, but he chose to drive around without a license. Also, the car he was driving had no insurance. So basically, he was just saying, fuck it, and he just did it anyways. But honestly, at the time, we were with the shits too. Like, all of us grew up, I guess, with some of you would call the ghetto or whatever. But Armando and I, we didn't give a fuck. We were just like, fine, drive without the license. We don't really fucking care, as long as we get that ride or whatever, and we can all hang and shit, I guess. But I'm pretty sure Zach, he would have drove, but I'm sure he showed up later because he was at work or something. I hardly remember much about the night, about like what we were talking about and shit. I know it was like normal bullshit, like girls or like movies or something. I'm not honestly fucking sure, but Lucio had asked us if we wanted to smoke weed. And he didn't mention this prior to us picking us up. He just, mentioned it. He had a bubbler at the time and was showing us, all the shit he had. And he said, not Lucio, Armando. He said that I believe he had smoked one time prior to this. I'm pretty sure he smoked one time. I think it was at a party or something. But he wasn't really like so like into doing it, because the thing is, I met him through sports. We like ran track together and shit, and he wanted to get better at it, and he didn't believe smoking wouldn't help and shit. And maybe that's true. I'm not exactly sure, but we waited until Zach came, because I think it was his weed anyways, and he was just getting off of work. And Zach shows up, and we talk for a little bit and shit, and I'm pretty cool with him, but we go out to the car, and this was during the nighttime, keep in mind, behind his apartment. No one was going to be around. Like, the cars were tinted, we were hotboxing, so it was going to be straight for sure. Now, to be honest, I was kind of worried myself, because I guess I just had this anxiety or some shit at the time. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to see what it was like, what's this about, why do people do this, and, that type of shit. And I didn't even, like, pick up, like, smoking from this my first time. I didn't even do it again for a long time after this. But I remember the first time it went around, I didn't do it. I wanted to, see them do it first, and they weren't pressuring me into doing it. So, I had the option, which is always cool. And I think around the third or fourth time around, I ended up taking a hit or two. I don't remember how much we smoked, but it was pretty boxed. I remember that, and I know that got me higher for sure. And I think we were smoking for like 20 or 30 minutes before we decided to go back in. And inside is, remember, where I really started to, feel it and stuff. I did kind of feel it in the car, and the way I just remember it is me being kind of dissociated from what was going around me, like my environment, and I was more in my mind, I guess, if that makes any sense. But we got inside, and I remember everything just felt different and more fun, and like everything just seemed more interesting. And in result, I proceeded to laugh, and basically anything was funny to me. Like, even shit that was not normally funny, it was funny. And that's a normal effect, but I had this very goofy ass laugh at the time, and the others were, they were looking at me like I was fucking wild, but they laughed with me and shit. But I'm pretty sure we were just cooling it in his room, talking about who knows fucking what. But I know Lucio ended up ordering some Chinese food that night. The noodles were smacking, absolutely fantastic. Never had I before tasted food so fucking good at this point. And that's what I have to say about that. But I know we were just hanging out pretty much for the whole night. And I think someone came. I think Zach's girlfriend came over. But, nothing really happened. Nothing went down, really. We were just, it was just a bunch of friends chilling, I guess. And I think around midnight, Lucio dropped me off at my crib and Armando back at his. And from there, I think I just ended up passing out and went on with my life. And, yeah, didn't smoke again for pretty long time. But like I said, this story isn't anything too crazy, and I just want to keep it real with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd very much appreciate it if you could show your support. It's been Someone That's No One, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.